This presentation explores Step 2 of the 6-step approach to curriculum development. Step 2 is the Targeted Needs Assessment. Just a quick reminder, there are 6 steps in this approach. Step 1 was the problem identification and general needs assessment. Step 2 is the targeted needs assessment. Step 3 is designing goals and objectives. Step 4 is creating educational strategies. Step 5 is implementation of the program. And Step 6 is evaluation and feedback. Again, this presentation is exploring the targeted needs assessment. So on the diagram of these steps, we're at Step 2. Notice how that builds from Step 1, but is also part of all of the other steps. Step 1 was problem identification, where we identified and you characterized the education or business problem. And this is a chance to allow you to demonstrate that you know what it is you are talking about. Step 2 is the needs assessment of learners, and this is the process by which we identify the differences between the ideal and the actual characteristics of the targeted learner group. So you have to identify what would be the ideal characteristics of this targeted learner. Who is going to enroll in this program, and what are the ideal characteristics they must possess? Then, what are the actual characteristics that this group possesses? And we will also look at the differences between the ideal and the actual characteristics of their environment. So here we're looking at the ideal learning environment and the actual learning environment. So what are these differences? This group of differences tells us what our learners need and how we can help them be successful. If, for example, we have a program that in the ideal world, everyone would enter this program already having at least an LPN, but we're going to have some students entering the program who do not have that LPN. How will that change what we offer, our content, how we deliver? We apply the general needs assessment from Step 1 to our targeted learners. So we look at the availability of such training and education, how important this is, what needs would this fill. So, if I wanted to develop a curriculum to train human service professionals, then that curriculum would want to reflect the social needs. What does society around me need? In my area, do we need people to work with homeless? Do we need people to work with jobs development? Do we need people to work with those who are trying to enter the workforce? Do we need domestic violence? Do we need some sort of child abuse group? What do we need? So the curriculum would reflect our social needs in the community, as well as job opportunities. How many positions out there really exist for this particular job that we are now training folks for? What are the financial rewards in that? Is this something that's really doable within our community? Are there jobs in this field, and will it pay folks? And then what are the attitudes toward those in the profession, as well as toward this profession in general within the community? And the trick is going to be to balance between all of these various needs. So you balance the needs of the students with the needs of the community. Now, if we take a look at this in a pictorial manner, We have the existing curriculum, that's in green here. We have what the students are expecting to have in the curriculum, and in this instance I have put that in the pinkish purple. And then we have real society needs in the blue. This overlapping area is the actual curriculum that we will be designing. So sometimes you may start with a larger group, a larger curriculum, a larger group of skills and abilities and content. And then when you factor in the students' needs and real society needs, you may end up adapting that a little. So, you have to know who your target audience is, who will be your program participants. You have to know what your target audience needs. Do they need to learn Spanish, for example? Do they need to have tutors available? Will you need to provide some sort of assistance, perhaps to help them locate service learning? Or will you have to do internships? So know your target audience and know what your target audience needs to be successful in this program. If this is a program that's attracting an older, more mature audience, then you may discover they have different academic needs from an audience that is coming to you straight from high school. If your target audience would be people already in the workplace, perhaps working at a bank, and you have a local bank who wants you to design some sort of management certificate for their employees, then you know that your target audience is already coming in with a specific skill set. And then you will know that there's a specific skill set they will need to leave your certificate program with. So these are the things you start doing and finding out about as you do your needs assessment of learners. So, who is your target audience, your target learner? Make sure that you can identify that audience. What content knowledge does your target learner need? So this is your chance to actually think about what are the content areas. Do they need finance? Do they need anatomy and physiology? Do they need writing? If so, what type of writing? What content knowledge does your target learner need? What are the characteristics of your target learner? What instructional techniques are appropriate for use with your target learner? And this is something we'll spend a little more time on later in this semester, but you will also be looking for information about what works best with this group of students, as well as what content is needed. What are their characteristics? And the characteristics often determine the instructional techniques. Now, when you are preparing your literature review, each of these topics will need to be explored and addressed in your literature review. So you need to start reading now, if you haven't already, about all of these areas on your topic. You need to look at the target learner, the learner's characteristics, the content knowledge your learner needs, and think about instructional techniques that are appropriate for use with your target learner. Your tasks with this particular step will be to complete the worksheet posted with this PowerPoint. You won't need to submit this worksheet to me, but completing it will help you organize and be ready for your literature review assignment. If you would like me to review your sheet, I would be happy to do so. Just email it to me and we could set up a time to chat about your sheet and the information in it. And this concludes the presentation on Step 2, Targeted Needs Assessment.